Aloha, this is Dean with Cohana Homes, and we're talking co-ownership. And most people think of co-ownership, they think of two, three, four people get together, they form an LLC, and they go buy a property, which is absolutely correct. But there are also some really interesting different applications that we're running into. And one of them is with creating affordable housing. For example, we're working with two young first-time home buyers who are trying to buy a home on Maui. Maui, the average sale price for entry level is going to be over $1 million, so it's a stretch. But what we're doing with these two people is they're combining their resources and they're forming an LLC and they're buying the property together and they're sharing the home. One party is going to live upstairs and the other party is going to be downstairs. And they have this great ability to share this home. And what we do is we create this LLC for them, and it has a set period of time. So they do this for maybe 5 years, and then hopefully in 5 years, the property is appreciated and they can pull out enough equity to be able to go on and buy their own homes. And at least one of the two parties could buy the other one out and retain the home. So there's some really interesting options revolving around partnerships and co-ownership when it comes to affordable housing, as long as you structure the deal correctly. And that's one of our specialties. The second one is we're also working with sellers around the country who don't want to sell, who are willing to take on one or two or three partners to join them in an LLC and co-own this property through a set period of time, kind of like a phased out sale for a seller. So a little bit unusual because these people are people who don't want to sell. And I think it's a great option for them because they can pull out three quarters of their equity out of the house. They can still retain a 25% interest or more in the property, so they still get to use the home. And they have no management responsibility. And they're also going to be only paying 1/4 of the expenses moving forward. So that's another really great way to utilize this co-ownership concept that's a little bit outside of the box. It allows people to retain the ownership of their home that they may have been forced to sell because of increasing expenses. And then the third application that we're really excited about is for people who are estate planning and passing on inheritance to their kids. And, there's all kinds of great attorneys that know how best to structure these trusts and pass these properties on to the heirs in the best tax way possible. And we got all experts on all that department, but what we don't have is anyone that manages the relationship between the kids when they inherit these properties. And you know darn well from history that the majority of the time it results in a war between kids. I mean, it happens to the people that you least expect it to happen to, but we do know that it happens very consistently. And what we see is an opportunity to be a part of estate planning, to work with the attorney and the parents to create a scenario where when they pass, the properties all go into an LLC and there's a pre-negotiated operating agreement that operates the LLC. And Cohana Homes is the LLC manager, right? So the parents pass, the properties go into an LLC. Cohana Homes manages the LLC so that Cohana Homes manages the communications between the kids, how this property is going to be used, when it's going to be sold. Everything will be pre-negotiated with the input of the parents, and so that they know when they pass that there's going to be some sort of a managed arrangement between the kids that keeps them from, being at war with each other. And this LLC, this operating agreement, will, as I say, be pre-negotiated with the input of the parents. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think we'd be happy to discuss any of these three creative options with anyone anytime. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us on kohanahomes.com. Aloha.